Hey friends, so I'm about to show you a video of how I cleaned and preserved my recent Schenkel shell that I found. But I'm going to show you now kind of the shell now that it's done and talk a little bit about how it works. And then if you keep watching the video, you'll see how I cleaned it and how I preserved it. All right guys, so this is the Schenkel shell after it's cleaned and preserved. I'll show you how I did that. As I said, this is a 3-inch shell, measures 2.92 inches across and weighs just over 8 pounds. It's a true shell, meaning it's not case shot. It doesn't have the lead balls in there. It's just was just hollow with gunpowder inside. There's the fuse on the top. This is a percussion fuse. So how this worked, this is a two-piece fuse here. You have the piece in the middle, which screwed down into the larger fuse. That piece in the middle had a percussion cap on the bottom. So as if you screwed it in and it was the lines from the middle one and the outer part of the fuse all lined up, then the percussion cap was against a slider. And so what would happen is when this would hit something, the slider would strike the percussion cap. There was a nipple beneath the percussion cap that the flame would go through and it would ignite the powder in the chamber and blow up, ideally. This one did not blow up, of course, because I'm holding it. These fuses were about 82% effective. So more often than not, they did detonate. But for whatever reason, this one did not explode. And in fact, the battle where I was metal detecting and found this one from, over 400 of these Schenkel shells were fired. So a lot of them were fired, and obviously some did not detonate. And you'll see on the bottom here how it's kind of like wider at the top and narrower at the bottom, and there are 7 ribs that go around there. Now what these were is they held a paper mache sabot on here. So you put a paper mache sabot around the bottom, and then ideally it would grab the rifling as it comes out of the barrel, causing this to spin. Now I'll show you another shell over here, which, see, this guy has a lead sabot on it. This is a Hotchkiss I found last year. So a completely different setup here with the lead sabot on the Hotchkiss, and you would have had originally the paper mache sabot on the Schenkel. Now the Hotchkiss was not fired. The Hotchkiss was just tossed in the river. The Schenkel was absolutely fired, and based on where I found it, and just didn't detonate. That I'll talk about in the video upcoming, and the rest of the video rather, but this is the hole where all the powder's been drilled and all the powder's been flushed out of it. Actually got some of the powder to save, so I'm going to display that next to the shell, which is pretty cool. Really happy with that shell. It's an awesome find, bucket lister find for me. So if you keep watching the video, you'll see how I get the incrustation off of it, how I cleaned it in electrolysis, and then how I ended up preserving it. So I hope you enjoy. All right, guys, so I already started working on this. As you can see, I'm hammering some of the incrustation off of that, being very careful not to hit the shell itself. But just this is what you got to do before we go any further with the shell. Okay, go. There we go. It's coming up pretty nice here. Excellent. All right. I'll work on this for a little bit and then I'll show you how it's looking. A little check-in here, how we're doing getting the shell out of the cocoon. You can see how much incrustation we have here that has come off. I mean, that's just unbelievable. That's as the iron rusts and leaches out. That's what's that forms that kind of cocoon on the outside, and the rocks stick to it. So that's what that is. But we'll do a little bit more work to get the concretion off there. All right, guys, that's about all I'm going to do on it for now. I think it came out really nice. This is going to have to be professionally rendered inert, although it's not dangerous right now. I mean, that black powder is pretty old in there, so probably not dangerous. Certainly from me hitting it, it's not going to go off. But in any event, we're going to get this professionally rendered inert and put this through electrolysis, and then we'll have a really nice shell here. All right, guys, so this is a few days after I got all the incrustation off this. I had it drilled by a professional, of which I am not. So I'm glad he was able to drill that for me. Did a very nice job. That's drilled all the way through to the powder chamber, and all the powder is flushed out. Now, it was all mush in there, so there was not actually any live powder. It was full of water, so it was safe. But it's best practice to get it drilled and flushed out anyway, just to be sure. I think this is going to turn out really nice in electrolysis, which I'm going to show you the setup here in a second. There's the fuse once again that looks pretty nice there. I think that's going to this whole shell is going to clean up really nice, and I'm really happy with it. So I'll get the electrolysis tank set up and I'll show you the next step. Okay, guys, so this is my electrolysis setup. I just have a very simple tote here. It's really simple. I have a tote with water and baking soda in there. Baking soda acts as the electrolyte. I have a bolt in the drill hole, the hole that was made to remove the powder from the powder chamber. I put a bolt back through that drill hole, holding a copper wire into the shell. The copper wire is connected to the hot side there, the negative wire, and then we have the positive connected to the anode there, which I'm using a stainless steel fork. You have to have something on that side which will allow the current to move from the shell to that side, and the rust will come off of the shell over towards the anode there. That's the basic premise. You don't really have to have a fancy setup for electrolysis. You can do something very simple like I have. And then I have this power supply I bought off Amazon. I think it gives 3 amps, so it's a very kind of low current power supply, which is what I like. I like to do the electrolysis slow. So I have it plugged in, and then when I hit that power button, we should start to see the electrolysis. So let's see. Okay, so the electrolysis has started. You see over at the positive side there, the fork is bubbling. So we have current going through it. And then if you look at the shell, I can start to see the shell is bubbling as well. So we're getting current through the shell. So the electrolysis has started. All right, let's give that a look. This is after a couple hours in the tank, and it's really cooking. You can see I have the bubbles coming up over basically the whole shell. So that means it's got really good electrolysis ongoing. Like I said, we're going to leave it in here a couple days, and then we're going to check on it. I might check on it tomorrow, but it's probably going to take longer than that. All right, guys, this is day 2 check-in on electrolysis here, and you can see that's going pretty good. We have bubbles coming up from really the whole shell pretty vigorously. I'm going to leave that in there for another couple days, and hopefully we'll get it cleaned up real nice. Okay, guys, this is after 5 days in electrolysis, and this is about as good as it's going to get. I hoped it would come out a little better. It's got some pitting, some metals lost there, some a little bit uneven. But I don't want to leave it any longer in electrolysis. I've tried to get off these bits of rust here. I may work on that a tiny bit more, but I have to be very careful I don't hit the base metal when trying to work with a little screwdriver to pick that off. But I may work on that a little bit more. But the next step here is going to be putting this in a pot of boiling water. I'll do that a couple times to try to get any salts or sulfites out of the metal, so we can make sure we don't have a problem later on with the shell. And then I'll move to the next step of the preservation process, and I'll show you that as well. Okay, as I mentioned, the next step is to boil the shell. So we have the shell there in the boiling water. I'll probably run this through twice, so I'll change the water again and boil it again, just to get any salts or sulfites out. Maybe this will also soften up some of those little encrusted bits that I couldn't get off the shell in electrolysis. So we'll see. I'll try again to get those off with a small screwdriver after the shell is boiled a couple times. Alright, I just wanted to show you this. You see how that water is turning like black almost? And it smells strong of sulfur. That's some of the gunpowder that just was stuck up in the powder chamber, just washing out. So that's good to get that out of there. And when we run this through again, it shouldn't be nearly as dark, that water. Okay, so we boiled the shell through a couple times, and now it's going to be time to, I'm going to try to get some of that incrustation off there. See a little bit, there's a little bit here, a little bit there. It definitely loosened after boiling it. Some of it did come off in the water, and I actually got some powder, additional powder out that I'm going to try to save and display with the shell. But anyway, I'm going to try to use a Dremel tool to very carefully try to nick that off, very carefully. I'll try one and see if I have a problem, and then we'll see if we can get that off. Okay guys, so we're ready now to preserve the shell. I boiled it a couple times, changed the water. This is the powder I actually got out of there. Kind of see it there. It's able to get that dried out. I might put that in a little vial and display it next to the shell. I think that would look really cool. So I already put the Gemplers here. This is Gempler's rust converter. This is a good product for preserving iron. It creates like a protective coating on the outside that it has a nice black color to it, and it looks really sharp, but also protects the metal from getting rusted any further. I've used another material, I'll show you another product I'll show you here called just rust converter. That's worked really well too. I've used this a ton over the last year on all different kind of relics, but I wanted to use the Gemplers on the shell because I think that works just a little bit better. Okay, so I already put Gemplers in the through the shell, through the hole here into the center of the shell, into the powder chamber. I already put the Gemplers in there, so I'm just going to dump out any excess here into the container there. Yeah, so I already coated, you know, the inside there. All right. Any of that excess out. All right, now I'm going to use a brush here, and I put some masking tape on the fuse here because I didn't want the Gemplers to kind of change the color of the brass. It may not. It may be fine, but I would like to leave it the color it is, so I put some masking tape on the front there. Paint it on. I don't know about the Gemplers, but that other stuff I showed you, that rust converter, that makes my hands black if I get it on my hands, which I'm sure I'm going to today. So I always look like I've been playing in ink when I'm using this stuff. You don't need a lot of it. I'm probably using a little too much of it. And I'm going to prop it up on an object here to... actually, let's do it like this. There we go. might be a little bit better. Let's see. All right, that might be a little bit better to stand it up like that. You gotta make sure you get it everywhere there's iron on the shell. Well, the masking tape went a little too far down. Need to get some stuff there. Oh yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I used the Dremel tool and I could not get any more of that incrustation off. That stuff's on there hard, whatever that is. It's almost like it's part of the iron, and when I do get a little bit of it off, I'm taking a chunk of the iron with it. So this was in electrolysis for long enough, so I don't think that was coming off. All right, let's prop this up here on, I don't know where the thing is I use for propping this stuff up. Must have moved. Oh, here we go. This iron relic there. I'm gonna just get the back here a little bit. Make sure I get underneath there too. I'm going to make sure you really get it coated. Coat the back here too. You got to get it in all the nooks and crannies here on the shell. Gonna work? Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Didn't get the top here. Redo that. All right. I'm gonna leave that shell to dry there, and then you'll see what it looks like when it's done. When it's all dried. There's a check in here, still letting that dry, but you can see it's coming out really nice, beautiful, like black color with that sheen. It's going to be really nice. And then you'll see the fuse when I take that masking tape off. But yeah, looking good. I'm happy with it. All right, guys, she's all done. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. That's a beautiful shell. There's a little bit of pitting, but you know, it's still very nice, especially my first Schenkel. Very happy with that. See the fuse on the top? Better turn the light there. So I don't know if you can make that out, but on the top it says J.P. Schenkel. And then on the bottom, it says patent October 16th, 1861. So that's really cool. Also, I should mention that this is my way of cleaning a shell, cleaning iron and electrolysis. There's lots of different ways to do it. Also with cleaning and preserving a shell, you can watch Aquachigger's videos. You can watch Steve Phillips has a great few videos on this, and just look them up on YouTube. And I've learned a ton from watching those videos, but also from doing it myself and from cleaning a lot of iron relics over the past few years. So, you know, there's a lot of great resources out there. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, guys. I really enjoyed making it. And please remember, if you enjoy these videos, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you on the river or the woods or somewhere like that very soon.